drive, and here there's a bank on the right, there's a church on the left, turn left in 1/10 of a mile. Oh my land!
This makes finding the exact route of the trail today very, very difficult because old barns and trolleys are all gone. And so you're missing some of these important landmarks as you trace it. One of the interesting spots in Wisconsin is in Owen.
There's a bar in Owen, and it used to be called Twink's Bar in Owen.
Twink's Bar.
And it has a bright yellow R on the side of it. And that meant that if you're on the Yellowstone Trail and you're driving through Owen and you got to the end of this street, which way would you turn if you saw a yellow R? It's a test.
To the right.
To the right, yes. You'd go to the right. And that does remain today.
You've been able to trace the original route through Wisconsin.
Yes. We had to do a lot of sleuthing and some guessing and a lot of computer work in order to recreate these old roads. And we found that they were wrong sometimes.
Did you?
Sometimes they would direct you to go right into a bluff. So they were wrong. But here we have a Jeep, we have four-wheel drive, we have air conditioning. 80 years ago, people venturing out onto that very same road, they had no services. And they had tires that had the lifespan of a fruit fly, and they had, not enough gasoline, the tanks were smaller, and so on. The sheer guts that people must have had traveling 80 years ago.
The difference is, of course, that they helped each other. If there was a car that broke down, everybody stopped and you got it going again.
You simply expected to have trouble, and people went with it. They rode with the tide because they were adventuresome. They accepted this. If they weren't, they would be on a train. So it was the pioneers, in the pioneer spirit, the can-do spirit, that really built this road.
Now, what's interesting is that the Yellowstone Trail got enough use to justify it being the first highway in Wisconsin to be completely paved with concrete.
Hi!
Okay. Hello there.
How was your trip?
Oh, great.
Good.
Great. Oh,
And you were on the Yellowstone Trail, huh?
Yeah.
Did you notice the concrete you
I
came over?
did.
This is part of the old original Yellowstone Trail. We are in Chippewa Falls. We think this is the original concrete. We don't know any different.
So at one time, though, this was very modern.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Can you imagine driving on this compared to a dirt road? Oh.
So following this road, you could get all the way to Yellowstone Park.
And beyond.
And beyond.
Should we go?
I think we should.
When the state of Wisconsin numbered its roads, the first state in the nation to number its roads in 1918, only thing that would be allowed on Wisconsin roads was the triangular highway department numbers, and the Yellowstone Trail yellow signs were still allowed because it was such a tourist draw. It was so clearly marked that it was allowed to survive.
Sounds like it was a very vibrant time.
Yes, it was, and it was a shame that the Depression came along and did away with all that vibrancy and creativity.
And it was just an early horse track, then a dirt track, then they paved it what year? 1954.
The legendary Milwaukee Mile is one of the most famous and beloved racetracks in America. And track historian Al Krause knows everything there is to know about it.
To me, the Fair Park is the greatest racetrack I've ever been to, and I've been to more than a few of them.
Well, how long have you been coming here?
Well, I've been coming here since my first race was in March 5th, 1936.
You've been here every year ever since?
Every year, and I've got every program from the time I started coming here, and you tell me a date that you want, and I'll bring you the program.
How long have they been racing here? What's the exact...
1903.
So this is nearly 100 years old. Is this the oldest?
This is the oldest major racetrack in the country from the standpoint of continuous annual service, or from any service.
In the world?
In the country.
In the country.
Well, I don't know. Now, in the world, there may not have been that many closed courses that were running that ran then too.
So this is a pretty special place.
Oh, this is a gem.
But they built on tradition here.
Exactly, and this is what you got to have. You want tradition, come right here. Bring a knife along, you can cut it. It's so thick, you can cut it and move it out. Now, this was a piece of history that most people don't realize. Henry Ford brought two of his cars here, very famous cars at the time, and they raced them. One was driven by a man by the name of S. Frank Day. His time to qualify came, and coming out of the north turn, tire peeled off, and the car skidded. The wheel caught on the fence, threw it up in the air, and Day went right off over the top, and of course he was killed. Really, he was probably only doing 45 miles or 50 miles an hour, but...
Back then, an open car?
Oh, my God. And so that ended. So that was our first fatality we had right away. And this track has been relatively free of that. So let's not talk about it. Because so many innovations are coming about in the cars, in the track here, in racing in general. The metamorphosis was getting bigger.
Is that when Harry Miller was designing cars?
Barney Oldfield drove one of Miller's cars, and Miller said, well, these guys are getting bounced out. So he built a race car, the Golden Submarine.
So this is one of the Harry Miller cars.
This is the first one.
That's the first one?
Exactly. Now, Oldfield is in there. Now, what Miller didn't count on, that engine generated a lot of heat.
Oh,
and they said Oldfield just...
He's just cooking in there.
Well, he sweated like a hog.
The 16-valve Miller.
Harry Miller got better after that beginning effort.
Oh man, does that sound great?
In fact, this Wisconsin native became one of the greatest automotive designers in history, and his race cars continue to hold center stage at the annual Vintage Indy Cars event.
Now, how did this event start? How did it just...
Well, the event started because I have several friends around the country who are, if I may say so, Miller collectors, or if you really want to call Miller freaks, that appreciate and love the great talent that this man had. So I thought, why don't we get a Miller Club started, and then we can attract a few more, which we have. Then we decided that we should, not be quite so stringent on our requirements, which was pre-World War II, and so now we've opened it up to post-war Indy cars. Now we're going to go and dust off that Mercedes.
How many of these cars do you own?
Sometimes we think that's a secret, but I can answer for you this way. Bill Hare out in Reno had 1,400.
1,400?
We only have 30.
What's the thrill of collecting these cars?
Oh, the thrill is the great accomplishments of many of them, and particularly Harry Miller, who came from Menominee, Wisconsin, a little town above Montclair. And he was, a genius. At least we think so, and couldn't draw two lines on a piece of paper, but he had wonderful ideas.
He was inspired.
You bet. And then he was great at surrounding himself with wonderful, talented people. And Leo Goosen, he could take Miller's ideas and put them on paper and do it well and improve a little bit here. And then they had over in the corner Fred Offenhauser, who was the great German machinist. And he manufactured the bits and pieces, and then they put these cars together, and they incidentally won the Indianapolis race 11 times.
11 times?
11 times. Now this car here was the first front drive Miller. Leon Duray took the same type of car, went to Montlhéry outside of Paris and turned 147 miles an hour with it, which was 15 miles an hour faster than Bugatti or Mercedes or Alfa.
Well, must have blown their minds.
Yeah, and Bugatti's mind was hard to blow, so he bought the two cars and took them back to Moldsheim and copied them.
Really?
Copy Harry Miller's design.
So Miller's so influential, not only here in American racing, but around the world.
Yeah, but it took the Europeans to wise us up.
This is a Miller Ford. The interesting story behind this was Tucker of the Tucker car fame.
They're just beautiful.
Was able to pitch to Henry Ford the idea of running some Ford-powered cars at Indy in the mid-30s, and convinced Miller to design the cars.
160 miles an hour.
Name of owner, Harry A. Miller, number 10. I'll never sit in anything this cool ever again. So do you dream about it?
Oh, I would say who doesn't? Anybody who's got some oil in their veins dreams about cars like this. An interesting thing is, though, that they seem to be a bit of a forgotten legacy. Miller was one of the greatest automotive designers in the world, period, not only in America. And that's not that well known because he never produced road cars. He never had any major auto manufacturer backing him or any big money backing him. In fact, money for him came and went pretty easily. He poured it all into the cars and didn't matter what it cost.
Art and power, is that what you say with his cars?
Art and speed, art and beauty, art and technology, you can mix it all together. He was so way ahead of his time from an engineering perspective, it's sometimes hard to believe what you see here today.
And we're seeing Perfect Circle Miller.
Right.
Tell me a bit about it.
Frank Lockhart drove that car up to world record, 172 miles an hour.
It's
pretty incredible.
Aerodynamic styling?
Yes, only 18 inches wide. You
Get a shoehorn to fit in?
exactly. You really had to be like a modern day jockey to get into those. Very aerodynamic, well handling for the era, and well built. They just lasted and lasted. And when you see some people sitting in these cars, you recognize that really your head becomes the roll bar. It would really hurt. I'm always amazed is that people survived the crashes, that not everyone was killed.
Harold, you ever driven one of these guys?
No, I've never driven one. I've been a passenger, and let me tell you, it's a thrill. It really is. That's just a rolling piece of history. It's a great part of American history, something that...
It's been forgotten, but we're remembering it here.
Exactly.
And when you look at how beautiful these cars are, you can understand why they ought to be remembered. They're just luscious.
They really are.
What's going on behind us?
We're now getting ready for the big 225-mile kart championship race. I think it's the 52nd Rex Mays Classic.
Why is it called that?
Well, it was called, Rex Mays was killed in 1949 at Del Mar, California. But in 1948, Rex had stopped, spun his car out in the south turn and went up against the wall because Duke Dinsmore was laying on the track. Spun his car out deliberately and then ran up track and flagged the field down, or they had made hash out of Dinsmore because he was laying right at a right angle. It just bounced him around. He was a great driver, tremendous man.
You ever meet him?
Oh, yes, and talked to him. He lent a dignity to this sport that some of these other guys could take lessons from. Right now I'm talking about. But anyhow, auto racing at Milwaukee has always been a big part of the racing schedule. The fair board, they were racing people because they were the ones that made the money. And they told the horsemen when they were going to pave this track, the horsemen, the motorcycle racers, they were tearing their hair out. And Don McDowell, his everlasting credit, stood right up to him and said, "Gentlemen, auto racing is big business, and you had better get used to the idea that auto racing gets the call."
What a place, though. What a history. Who knew that Wisconsin had such an illustrious automotive history?
Drive carefully now.
And don't forget to buckle up
Thanks for joining us
on Wisconsin Stories.